Alright, it's the Christmas morning service call. That's why we do this gig, right? Got a walk-in box down at a restaurant. They're not open today, but they got the chef, does his checks, and he's got a box at 50 degrees. And it's right down the street from my house, so I told him, yeah, I'll come by and scope it for you. So we'll go take a look at this thing. Okay, here we go. We're gonna walk in the box and we'll see if this thing goes off. It's on high sensitivity. So you know the leak's inside here somewhere. It's gotta be a good size one. Get some soap bubbles. Up on the roof here, make our way to our little condensing unit. Here's a little carrier and fake carrier package unit. So good. It's still t-shirt weather here in California right now. Christmas Day. It's freaking nice and sunny. Okay, there's the little condensing unit. I got it up and running right now. I'm gonna pump it down. I need to nitrogenize that coil and see what's going on over there. This compressor's been changed in '09 by somebody. It's got POE oil. This thing's so low on charge, you'll see here. Short cycle. Someone's wired this fan to run full time. I'm gonna have to fix that too. That's not correct. So I'll get in here and fix that. When I do find where the leak is, I'm gonna switch this whole unit over to 407C, which is an R22 replacement, because it already has the POE oil in the compressor. I don't know if that's coming through on the video or not, but this time it's on the liquid line side of an expansion valve. And it almost is acting like the flare nut's cracked, and it could be. I want to get some more soap on there. And then I'm going to take it out of there and see if that flare nut's cracked. It looks like a little leaker right in there, up in where the flashlight is. My flashlight has a magnet on it, and it's coming out perfect. Stuck it up there, and it's shining right in there where I need to work. Okay, I'm getting ready to flare this dude back up. I've got her all reamed out, shined up, ready to go. The new flare nut on. I got my flaring block down here. And we're going to go ahead and get this flared up and reassembled. Okay, so I got my flare done. I got my vacuum pump oil in here. I got a little drop of oil. And I put it behind the ear of my flare. And then I'll get her flared up here. She's gonna go back on the TXV in there, on the liquid line. Okay, flare nut's back in. I can go change my dryer now and then nitrogenize it and check for leaks. And if it's not leaking, then I can get it on the vacuum pump. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but you have to check everything before you leave. And that thermostat's turned way down, and that would result into an iced up coil. And let's see, 40, about right there. And so what happens is the box gets warm, this thing gets turned down by the end user, And if you don't check everything before you leave, you're gonna get burned. Like I always say, they're all multiple offenders. Matter of fact, look at this. This is what you gotta walk on sometimes. You gotta walk on top of the kegs, see? But we're gonna have to do a little cleanup too before we leave, because look, bam, dirty coil. Every one of them is like that. Multiple offenders. So the condenser fan action, trace the wires out and it comes up into the controls. Then I went to this fan cycle switch. Or yeah, I'll just wire nut that thing together. So that's bypassed out of there. I don't know if the switch is good or bad. Not. I'll test it in a little bit. If not, it needs to come on with the compressor, not sit there and run all the time. You know, the things you find on the job. Then I looked up over my shoulder here for the exhaust fans. What do you see there? Let's go take a look. We probably had 16, 17 inches of rain off the last 3 storm systems that have come through. There's no cover on this. There we go. I'm telling you, the stuff you find every single day. I probably got a screw in my bag. Don't be like that if you're learning this trade. Put your stuff back together, whoever did that. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Spank, spank, spank. Okay. Now this guy too, whoever did this. Spank, 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 spank. You can't do this kind of stuff. Okay? You can't take your fan cycle switch and bypass it on. That's not good practices. Okay. Or you're gonna get frickin' spanked like that. Okay. Okay, so I went ahead and got the wires off this. Went and capped up where it went through the controls. Now the condenser fan will cycle on with the unit as the unit runs, as it bangs on from the pressure switch. Okay, little screws and the cover there. That was a killer, whoever left that. Okay, got that all sorted out. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody.